Hey, everybody, you're listening to the Total Buckets podcast. That's right. This is not usually when you hear my voice, it's usually a baseball podcast, but once again, we're doing a hoops talk style of podcasting here tonight. And I have a new host, or not new host, sorry, my new guest for this evening is Mr. Harry Sabarium. Harry, how you doing this evening?
What's up, Felipe? How's it going?
I am okay. I am okay. So this is, I would say, yeah, this is only the second episode of the Total Buckets podcast. Um, the first one was regarding our draft. James Pinos and I got together and as we do on an annual basis, we recap the draft, the slow draft of the Basketball Live Podcast League. And I don't think I explained myself what kind of league this was. This is a fantasy basketball league, points league, but it's based on averages and not total categories accumulated or things of that nature. So if a player scores 25 fantasy points for 3 games in 1 week, it's also a weekly league. So if he scores 25, 25, 25, that's what, 75 points. The average score is going to be 25 for that week. You know what I mean? As opposed to 75 total points for the X player for accumulating that much fantasy points on a given week. So I like to do the averages. It's more fun that way, and I don't know. It's a format I fell in love with in when I was in my younger adult life in my 20s, and I only know that of CBS Sports offering this. I don't know of any other website that does it. And I did run a league for a long time doing that format, and then we had a falling out. But from the ashes, Harry, I've been able to get a great group of guys, and now you're on board with it as well. You actually got to take over a team this year. You and your friend Joe Pollock, who are also well, they're also doing. We're doing fantasy football, or are you doing the fantasy football league by yourself? Or are you doing it with Joe and
No, your football league is just it's just me by myself.
Okay, so you did
But
a
I do
fantasy baseball league with Joe Pollock. That's what it was, right?
no, yes, no. So Joe and I have a baseball league that we're in, and then we have two football leagues we're in as well. They're just not in yours, but
Okay.
two. So yeah, so we have like for four teams now.
So, what's your background in terms of fantasy basketball? I know fantasy basketball is more of like a fringe sport, fantasy sport, or maybe I'm just in the wrong circle of friends here. But it just seems like it's football, it's baseball, and then basketball is like on the outer outskirts of popularity. It seems like, but either you like it or you don't. It's a very polarizing sport. It's a very polarizing fantasy sport. What's your background in terms of this fantasy basketball?
Well, it's not that I don't like it. I definitely like it. It's just the issue of finding time to do it. I
Right.
feel that the difference with it is that like football, you really don't have to check it. You know, you can check it like maybe, you know, you could literally check it once a week if you wanted to. I don't think you should if you take it seriously, but football is like, possibly three times a week. I felt basketball and baseball were a lot more time consuming. And with my career and, the amount of time I've had, it just never was in the cards. And then I think what was it not this past year, year before, I did the WNBA league with you guys. And
Yeah.
of course it was over the summer and I really fell behind because I just couldn't keep up. Because I just, you know, summertime is like one of my busiest times of the year. So
Right.
there was just no time to stay with it.
Yeah.
So I figured this year, when you invited me to come play, fantasy basketball for the NBA, I'm like, one thing, get Joe to come help me with it, I'd be in. Because I found that doing fantasy with a partner is a lot more fun. It really is. To me, it is. It's grown on me. And
Right.
Joe and I seem to really offset each other. Joe's very conventional, and like I'm kind of the guy that like goes with my gut.
Okay.
And maybe I'm right about, I don't know, 75% of the time, maybe more. He'll tell you that I'm probably closer to 95% in football. We've talked about it in the past, like some of my gut calls and how I won leagues this last year just by going on my gut.
Right.
But basketball's a little different, and the strategy coming into the draft was not exactly what I hoped for.
Who was your keeper player again? Because you got to keep one player this year.
Yeah, we got to keep we kept Jayson Tatum.
Okay. Good
Um,
selection there.
yeah, no, he was the best one there. I mean, he was
It
definitely the
was a
best
good
one.
roster that you had. I'm surprised that I was looking at your roster with you as I was trying to convince you you should join my league. And I looked
Yeah.
at the roster like, how the hell did this team end up with a second pick overall? I don't understand.
Well,
You got Jason
well, I
Tatum,
think
Jimmy Butler.
I said to you, I said, okay, so let me get this straight to make sure I understand. If Jimmy Butler has, you know, 10 rebounds, 20 points, and like, 5 assists and does it over 3 games, is it that, average of that or total? And you're like, well, coincidentally enough, Jimmy Butler's on the team, so I kind of called a player without even knowing the team. But and I think I ended up redrafting Jimmy Butler as
You
well.
did. You did. I saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he fell a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so let's get to how I may have screwed up or not screwed up
Well, the draft
my
strategy. So
team.
yeah, so you kept Jason Tatum, right? You kept Jason
Kept
Tatum.
Jayson
So
Tatum, and then we had to set, so the first pick that came off the board was John Morant,
yeah.
and he really wasn't on my radar. I know he's you know uh, a sexy pick, and he's probably the greatest athlete in the league. But I don't know. I just felt there's different things that didn't fit for him. That wasn't going to fit for us. So I went Jalen Brunson. And that was my pick. I don't want to say I forced Joe, but I talked Joe into it. Um, and I'm going to be totally honest, and people can laugh all they want. I just assumed Anthony Edwards wasn't there, and I didn't. I overlooked him. It was by accident. I literally thought, like, because you got to keep one player each team, right? Edwards
Yeah.
wasn't going to be there, and then right after I picked Brunson, Edwards goes off the board, and I'm like,
That's ironic.
damn it, like
He,
really, like, and
he,
I listen. I think Brunson's still a good pick. I
yeah.
think Brunson will do just fine, um, and he has done fine. What my convincing thing was to Joe was that once Brunson and Towns get on the same page, and the ball movement goes the way it does, Brunson's assist total I was assuming would go up.
Yeah.
Um, as far as Brunson and Halliburton, I felt Halliburton would fall a little bit.
Hmm.
And he has. If that stays forever, not sure. I believe he's in a really bad shooting slump right now too.
Yeah, yeah. He's been pretty bad to my
Right.
surprise.
Right. So, well, I mean, I kind of felt, like I understand Brunson came on from Dallas a couple years ago and has become now the borderline superstar, or I would say superstar, in New York. I didn't have the same vibe as Halliburton. I know he had a really good year last year,
mhm.
and I'm not saying not taking nothing from him, but I need to see more consistency out of him.
Yeah. Well,
You
he's
know,
been turning it on lately. And when I say bad, I mean, I just know that he had a really bad game that made me think like that's not why you drafted him in the top five, Tyrese Haliburton. He had a
right,
game against your New York Knicks where he only scored 12.5 fantasy points. And then he
right,
followed that up with 29.75 fantasy points against Philly, which 29.75 points isn't bad, but you for a guy like Tyrese Haliburton, you expect a lot more from him. And then lately he's been posting 50 points, 51 points, 33 points, 58.5 points. So yeah, he's been bringing it on lately. What you said something about the shooting percentage. I thought I also saw yeah, he's shooting 24.1% from 3-point range according to
right.
the website here at CBS
And
Sports.
and and that might change. So, but and you know what else it is? And I understand it's fantasy, but like I'm a Nick guy. Like I almost cringed when I saw what's his name? Jacob take what's his name? Take Miles Turner.
Oh,
It's
I
like
didn't like that pick at all.
it's like how are you a Knicks? I mean, I don't know. Like it's same thing in football. I hated taking Patriots. I'm a Jet fan. I tried to stay away as much as I could. I mean, I don't think I ever drafted Brady. And maybe once out of the amount of years I ever It's just something about me, and I've never claimed to be a conventional, fantasy player ever. Um, but so I went Brunson, and I still stand by my pick. Obviously, Edwards is great. The other thing I tried to talk myself into after the blunder of passing on Edwards, um, was that maybe, just maybe, Randall would hurt Edwards a little bit because
Mm,
Randall, I feel, is more ball dominant, where Towns wasn't necessarily dominant.
right, right.
So, and that was what I convinced Joe about with Brunson was that Brunson's assist total to go up. So I think I'll be fine with the pick. Maybe end up looking a genius. Maybe we talk about this, 6 months from now and I'm an idiot. But
Yeah.
I'll own it either way. I'll
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100% own it. So
And that's what it's all about. I mean, you can get advice from the smartest people, the best fantasy experts. And that's what I tell people all the time. Like, hey, listen, man, you guys can take my advice or don't take my advice, but I would never give advice that I wouldn't take for myself.
Right, of
At
course.
end of the day, though, it's on you to make those final decisions. I can guide you here and there, but end of the day, you put your big boy pants on and make these final decisions on yourself. And then that way you can look yourself in the mirror and you can't blame anybody else, you know. Oh, well, Felipe told me to do this. Now I'm mad at Felipe. No, man. I told you what I would do and that what I, Felipe, would do in that situation, and I could strongly suggest it. But you guys know your leagues better than anybody. You guys know your team better than anybody. You guys know your players better than anybody. I'm just here as a guide. If you either take the advice or you don't, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. But
Right,
I mean, yeah, you're never. I mean, because yeah, you talk about conventional and from the gut. For basketball, I there's not much. Uh, I don't do as much statistical lookup uh in fantasy basketball like I do in fantasy baseball. I think you've seen how hardcore I go with fantasy baseball. For
oh,
fantasy
I've seen it.
basketball, it's all vision. I'm telling you, it's all vision, and that's why I was like, Jalen Brunson. He could be a reincarnation of Jason Kidd in terms of the assist totals that where it's a player that he gets so many assists. Assists are worth 2 points. It doesn't matter if he scores, if he's a primary scorer or not. Uh, so yeah, he can rack up points in that manner. And I lived on just having Jason Kidd as my best player and just building around him for a lot of years, and I was happy with that. But and when it comes to a guy like Anthony Edwards, I saw for some odd reason Anthony Edwards was selected was considered the eighth best player available coming into this draft. Who had the eighth pick overall coming into this draft? Yours truly. And I was excited at the chance, the slight chance, because it's a keeper league. So obviously Anthony Edwards' stock goes up. There's a slight chance that I may get him at number 8. And I was happy as hell about it. And if not him, then I definitely want Tyreese Haliburton. Those were the only two options I was thinking about if I had a top 5 pick. And I'm praying that these guys fall to me at number 8. And of course, Bob surprised me going Anthony Edwards. As you see on the screen there, he went Anthony Edwards instead of his hometown pick, Tyreese Haliburton. He's a Pacers fan. Angel, the Utah Jazz fan and the Orlando Magic fan, he ends up getting Tyreese Haliburton. And yeah, he got off to a bad start, but I mean, those 50 points, no matter if they're efficient or effective, no, efficient in terms of the 3-point shot, those 50 points count, man. I mean, they add up. As far as Anthony Edwards goes, since we talked about it, and Anthony Edwards has yet to put up 50 points in this league on any given point on any given game. And the last game against the Charlotte Hornets, he only scored 29 and a half fantasy points. Again, nothing to sneeze at, but it's Anthony Edwards. You expect more. Julius Randle has also been kind of stuck on neutral with 29 points in his last 2 games each. So maybe you're onto something that Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards might be offsetting each other in Minnesota now.
I truly feel that was even when the trade came down. Like I truly felt that Randall could stunt. Maybe not necessarily on purpose, not just in fantasy, but in real life. Randall could stunt. Anthony Edwards' growth. You know what I mean? Like just because the media and people in general kind of slap the baby MJ, you know, um, label on Anthony Edwards kind of a little too soon. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he doesn't have characteristics or game style. He's got some raw talent for sure, but I felt that moving Cat. Listen, at first I didn't want Cat. Now I'm starting to see the chemistry work. Now I'm a little more happier about the trade. Carl Anthony Towns has always been known to being somewhat soft mentally and physically. So it's tough to trade a guy who is strong and Randall is a big rebounder as well and can score, but he's ball dominant. Now that guy goes to Minnesota. Minnesota traded Cap because they didn't want to keep his money on the books.
Mm.
Minnesota
That's
still
right.
needs
Yeah.
to, Minnesota still needs to pay Edwards, Reed, and then there's one other. I forget who the other one was.
Gobert?
Huh?
Is it Rudy Gobert?
Is it a Gobert or wasn't there a kid McDaniels that they like?
Oh, right. One of the McDaniels. I forget
Yeah,
which
yeah.
one.
So
Jalen, Jaden. I don't
yeah,
know.
I think yeah. So I mean that's crazy to me. That it worked out the way it did. So I think that kind of stunts Anthony Edwards moving forward. So maybe I look like a genius picking Brunson, but I
Well,
guess
so far in 6 games, Brunson has averaged 40.21 fantasy points in our league. And then there's Jimmy Butler, who is on your team. So yeah, back to back buzzing mechas. That's the name of your team. They show up back to back here on this list of the league leaders. Pascal Siakam, obviously that's Aaron's team, the Canadian, only Canadian player in this league. And then there's Tyreese Haliburton, who went to Angels team. And then there's you, or I'm sorry, not you, but Anthony Edwards, who went to Bob's team.
right.
So far you're looking like a sage right now because Brunson is outperforming those two other guys. But as I mentioned, Halliburton can explode. I mean, those 50 points are crucial. And how's Brunson doing so far? And he's holding his own. 50 points here, 49 and three quarters points there against Houston. But yeah, I think this is his comfort zone, anywhere hovering around 40 points. I think that's more realistic for the rest of the season. And obviously the 23 points in a very bad start against the Celtics, but yeah, it's a lot of emotions going on with the
That
Celtics
was
that game. So
that was a trap game, man. There's nothing we can do about that game.
plus you're trying to acclimate yourself with Carl Anthony Towns on the team and all these new guys on the team. So
Right.
yeah, like you said, that's a perfect way to describe it. But
Well, speaking of Carl Anthony Towns, Knicks in Atlanta are tied in the fourth. And Towns has 31 points, 13 rebounds, 2 blocks. So um, Cat's doing cat things in New York.
and that's why I still wonder if that was the right pick for me. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. If that was the correct pick, because I ended up, as I was alluding to on the previous draft, and I don't want this to be a draft recap because we just did one with James, but looking back to see where we are, and you are a Knicks fan, so this could be a Knicks thing as well. Um, because now that Anthony Edwards is gone, now I'm trying to think, well, should I get Devin Booker? But then that gives me two guards. Centers are at a
Who was your
premium in this
who
league,
was your
so
keeper again?
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's SGA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was so happy because the first 3 years I kept Luka Doncic. Obviously, when we start over in the fourth year, there's no way in hell I'm gonna get Luka Doncic. But I did get SGA back, and I was so if I'm gonna get anybody who's gonna be as close to as Luka Doncic is gonna be, SGA is the guy. And sure enough, I got him, and I did my Jerry Krause dance with my pennies in my hand. Like, Elton Brand, yes, I'm gonna get Elton Brand. Oh yeah. And so I'm thinking, well, Devin Booker, but that gives me too many guards because SGA is a combo guard, and so is Devin Booker. But you need a big man. She'll go Steph Curry as well. I mean, I never had Steph Curry on any fantasy basketball team, so that would be something. I was also looking at Paulo Banchero, Alperen Sengun, or should I just go with Jalen Brown? A lot of options here, Harry. And I just went, Carl Anthony Towns. I had him last year. He's a traditional center. Looking back, was he the right center? Because there's LeBron James who also qualifies at center. There's Alperen Sengun, Bam Adebayo. There's another guy in particular, Zion Williamson. Should I have picked him in the first round instead and taken that leap of faith with Zion Williamson? Because he's a very explosive player too. There's Chet Holmgren as well. But I just fell in love with the idea of having Cat on my team again because he can shoot the ball for a big man. Uh, he qualifies at center and power forward, so that's that versatility. He looked great in the 5 minutes I watched of him in the one preseason game that I watched of the Knicks. He looked fantastic. And I just fell in love, like, man, if I can get him back, that'd be great. And I pulled the trigger in the first round because I just like I'm a big believer. I also found out that his best years were under Tom Thibodeau. Now he's reunited with Tom Thibodeau. So lots of good things. And I just said, yeah, I'll run it back with both SGA and KAT on my team again and hope for the best. But something that James Pinos pointed out to me, look at the projected points coming into the season. I ended up, theoretically speaking, I ended up drafting the worst player in the first round. I mean, Harry, you're looking at the points you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? Is Look at those top 12 picks. Is Carl Anthony Towns really the worst player in the first round of this list here?
He's not, but by your
Who is
stats
it?
it shows it.
But who is it in your book? And let's keep in mind that when I look at these projections, again, I don't take them as Bible. They're just suggestions. And my mentality is, okay, do I believe that the number will be under or over? And for Carl Anthony Towns, I definitely foresee that it definitely could be over, well over 37.8 points per game. But who is the worst player on on this list of 12 here that you see?
Mm. Well, I mean, it's kind of unfair because a couple of them are injured right now. So
I mean, okay, put yourself back in preseason mode in the draft. You're back mentally right here. Who would have been, gun to your head, the worst player of this list of 12 people?
probably Murray in New Orleans.
DeJounte Murray, right? That's what I
Yeah,
thought too. Or actually, I think James and I agree that maybe Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes is the other one I had in mind too.
Yeah. Well, DeJounte
Scotty
Murray,
Barnes is injured too, I believe. Isn't he Scotty Barnes injured too right now?
I don't know. Good question. DeJounte Murray is injured. I know that much.
Yeah,
And
I know Murray's injured. Curry was injured for a little bit.
yeah, out at least until November 25th for DeJounte Murray. That's a tough break. No pun intended there. But DeJounte Murray, when healthy, and I had no faith in DeJounte Murray, he's averaging 43.5 points. So he's playing well over his head, well over his projection on a team with Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, and Zion Williamson. So I've officially have slept on DeJounte Murray, who's actually scoring more points by average than John Morant, who's the number one player coming into this draft after the 12 keepers were selected. So just crazy how that ends up working out. Who's the other guy we were wondering? Oh, Scotty Barnes. On the other screen, Scotty Barnes, 41.88 points. So he's doing over his projected score. But as you told me, Scotty Barnes, orbital injury,
Yeah,
and he'll be out until November 21st at the earliest.
yep. I heard that today.
And Towns, as you see, 37.8 points. He's at 41.5 points. So, and we expect these numbers to be conservative. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna uh be too crazy for, projections are supposed to be conservative figures. But again, it still goes back. Okay, well, in this universe, do I believe that Cat is gonna score below or over 37.8 points? And in this universe, this projected universe that you see in front of you, I was projecting in my mind because I do a lot. Like I said, everything's vision when it comes to
Right.
fantasy basketball for me. I could foresee him getting well over 40 points in this league, about on average, I should say. And so far, that's what he's doing. So I guess it's working. Now it does it maximize my output? That remains to be seen. Would I have been better off getting James Harden or Devin Booker? Well, so far early on in the season, it shows that it wouldn't have because Booker is, I think he's a little bit below 40. I'm just trying to check the other screen right now, and of course my computer's crapping out on me as always. What the hell's wrong here? Here we go. Booker. 42.39. Oh, he's doing pretty well. So yeah, he's actually averaging more than Towns, but at least I can go to bed thinking, well, my power forward and my center positions are uh are in good standing at this point. I
True.
like the LaMelo Ball pick by you in the second round. Go ahead, you were saying something?
No, yeah. I was gonna go there about LaMelo Ball. So like, I already had Kyrie on the team, and
No, you
nothing.
didn't.
Like when I inherited the team, Kyrie was already on there.
Oh, gotcha. See,
Um,
you did have a good team. Damn, I keep
yeah, yeah.
forgetting.
No, I had a good team. So
Jeez.
so when it came back to us, Joe didn't want to take Kyrie, and I was okay with not taking Kyrie. Um, Kyrie's wonderful, don't get me wrong, but I had a real big stick about LaMelo Ball. Like all the podcasts I listened to, all the advice I got, everyone was taking take LaMelo Ball in the second round of a non-keeper league.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, that's what I was hearing. Um, so the fact it was a keeper league, with
yeah,
one keeper, I'm technically getting LaMelo Ball in the third round of like a regular draft. You know what I mean? So like,
exactly. Yep.
so I'm like, okay, so I really like that pick. I think the kid's healthy finally, and he can almost do it all.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
the only downside is that he is just a point guard. Like he's not qualified as anything else, so you can't slide him somewhere else. But it doesn't
yeah.
matter. He's
I
good
think,
enough. So we went point guard, back to back twice. Um, but I mean, I feel that at that point with Tatum there, you know,
all
already
right,
as a
I see
power
that.
forward, it worked well. Um,
Yeah. And I've built teams with very strong perimeter players and point guards. But where you were getting at me was then Felipe gets all these centers, and I wanted to punch him or something to the effect that you mentioned
I was just
before the
talking
show
shit.
started. Yeah, yeah. But James told me the exact same thing. Like, wow, that's a lot of centers you picked. And I've been burned before. I've done it before where I go with Luca and then I pair him up with Devin Booker, or I pair him up with Cade Cunningham, or I pair him up with all these wonderful, talented guards and forwards. But I don't have any big men. I'm lacking power forwards. I'm lacking centers. So that's why, to prevent that from happening again, I went out of my way to draft all these centers. And it was particular centers. Like I wasn't just drafting anybody with a C on their name. Like
Right.
you see there, Jared Allen and Rudy Gobert. No, there had to be again vision. There had to be a certain type of player that I was looking for in my mind. As
Well,
weird as that sounds coming from
no, no,
me.
no. I get it. So my thinking here at the third pick, I went Butler, which ended up being, I think, beneficial to me. But because I feel like he's kind of like a, complimentary piece that would, work well with Tatum as far as like, covering almost all the categories type
Yeah,
scenario.
yeah.
But then I did that with the hope that one of these centers would fall to us, not knowing the league. Yeah, remember though, I'm coming to this league not knowing anyone. Like I
Yeah.
know some of you, right? But I don't know how you draft. I don't know anything. So all of a sudden, centers are coming off the board like crazy, and then all the guys we had in queue. We had Cade Cunningham in queue. We had Darius Garland in queue. We had Jared Allen in queue. We had Rudy Gobert in queue because Joe wanted Gobert. Um, who else? We had Paul George in queue, although I'm kind of glad we didn't grab him. Um, and then we got here. Um,
Yeah, this is
yeah,
your Waterloo right here.
yeah. No, no, I don't mind the Zach pick. I'm good with Zach Levine. I think he'll be fine.
I'm just saying
Um,
that he's hurt again.
yeah, he's a thigh thing. I think he missed tonight, possibly. Um, it was iffy last I knew.
Yeah, it was.
The Kawhi Leonard pick, it was just, I don't know what, it was just weird. It was a weird pick. Um, Joe thought Leonard, might be able to, play more this year and be, healthier. I really wasn't paying attention to his injury status. It's my own fault. Um, and I'm supposed to be the one that, watches more basketball than he does. So I
Right.
take full res- so I take full responsibility for the Leonard pick. It definitely has crippled our team.
Yeah,
Um,
'cause I wanted to point that out, not to who on you or anything, but listen, brother, you weren't the only one thinking about it. I'm pretty sure if you don't get Kawhi Leonard here, Leon, who's picking back to back, his team is Mount Zion Buffet.
yeah,
Leon, I think he would have pulled
because
the
he
trigger
fell so
here.
far. Yeah, because he fell so far. I was like, it was a gamble. It was a gamble,
Yeah.
and it blew up in our face. And who knows if Kawhi's even going to play this year? I
But
mean,
my argument is it that much of a gamble though in the virtual fifth round, early sixth round? Is it that big of a gamble? And you see Leon goes back to back Brooklyn Nets. He's a Brooklyn Nets fan.
right,
So he goes back to back. I didn't like this. I liked a lot of Leon's draft picks. I did not like this here. I don't know why
right.
he did that, but I'm now more convinced more than ever that if you don't pick Kawhi Leonard, Leon would have pulled the trigger for you
I,
instead.
if I could go back and change it, I would have went Zach Levine where Leonard is, and then probably came back with CJ McCollum
Wow. And then
or
And then you were talking about not having
or
centers.
Jaren Jackson. Now, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson was on our radar at the same time actually, and what what threw me off was I read there's like an info spot like a bio, and they were saying how like they felt Jaren Jackson would possibly suffer from the drafting of Zach Edey, and now
Mm.
with Ja there that he may not do as well,
How is he
and
doing? Let me see.
that kind of threw me off. And again, it's 100% on me. I didn't do enough of I did some homework, but not enough of my homework. Like
You're not the only one, bro. Like I'm
I
pretty
didn't
sure
I
a lot
didn't
of folks didn't do a lot of
I
homework.
didn't study it the way I study football now. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
okay.
So I used to just like wing football and then do decent. And then 2 years ago, I decided to actually start doing my homework. And and then I won 3 leagues last year in football, and now I'm competing in actually all my leagues. I'm pretty much. I think your league's the only one I'm really doing not so great in. I think I'm three,
Really?
four,
I'm sh
or maybe
Weren't you,
4-4.
weren't
It's
you whooping
mostly
everybody's ass?
injury.
I thought you were kicking
Mostly,
everybody's ass.
no, it's mostly injury. I shouldn't have touched Jonathan Taylor. I should have known better. Um, you know what I did in your league? I'm not to make this about football, but I picked players that I wouldn't normally pick.
That's always a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mistake,
Yeah.
but I just,
Yeah.
but it's like, we weren't playing for money. I
Yeah.
mean, you're playing for pride, but it was like I could go outside of what my normal routine was.
Right.
But also where I picked, I wasn't. It just didn't feel off, and I think I passed on Jamar Chase, and I regret it. I regret it
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's
Because
why I trade. That's why
Felipe
I
gets him.
trade. That's why I trade for him today in
Yeah.
my league. But yeah. So, but I did not touch Chase. Um, and I forgot who I went with. I know I drafted Josh Allen in the third round of your league, but again, I screwed up there. I didn't necessarily read the rules. Allen's good, but not. I could have went with a quarterback later in your league. Your league points are different than most leagues I play in, so
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying
it's,
to
it's a little different. So which is fine. It'll be fine. But I think I'm like 4-4 in your league, or
4-5.
four.
I just checked. You're
Yeah,
4-5.
yeah.
Second
So
place in your division. You scored. I think you're up there in points scored. I'm not 100. You're definitely. I think you're in second place. You know,
okay,
you're the. Hold on. You're the top points getter in your division, the Devin Hester division, and you're only 4-5 to show it. And then you got Steve Carey's pretty tough. My guy, my friend here, Steve Carey's a very tough competitor. And then you
right.
got my baseball commissioner, Robert Edmondson, behind you as well. But you do have the most points scored in that division. Obviously, Noel Miller, I'm facing him this week. He's the best team in the league and by far has the most points. And just because all his running backs are healthy, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery. But you're getting back to what you said. Josh Jacobs is his third string quarterback, which is crazy to think. But getting back, yeah, I did the same thing in my other league, which is F around league. There's nothing too serious about that league. And I went outside my comfort zone where I was in all my mock drafts. I drafted nothing but wide receivers and I just waited on running backs. This one I got a little too cute and I said, yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'm unstoppable. Let's do something different here. It's a free league. I'm feeling myself. I got Justin Jefferson. I don't need another wide receiver till later. We need two wide receivers and two running backs. Let's go back to back running backs. And as soon as I did that, I knew that was a mistake. I lost Isaiah Pacheco early and Rashad White, who I had last year on this same league, did very well for me. Has not done
Yeah,
very well
Rashad
for me
White
this
is
year.
not. Yeah,
He
so Bucky
sucks.
Irvin's giving Rashad White so much, like competition.
Yeah.
No, Rashad White won leagues for me last year.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I have Rashad White everywhere. And thankfully, I drafted Bucky Irving as well, in most of my dynasty leagues. So I have flexibility there. But um, the only saving grace for me in my league, it's a fresh. I converted my old regular, redraft league into a dynasty league this year on Fantrax. I ended up drafting Chase Brown. So that's
Yes.
so who's now taking over. So that's the only downside to my team now is I'm going to have Jamar Chase and Chase Brown. So it's a little tough. I
Wait,
don't
that's
like.
my team.
Is it really?
Yeah, I have both Chase Brown and Jamar Chase. I actually named my team Chase on the Case.
That's
It's a
hysterical.
Paw Patrol reference. So that's homage, a little hat tip to my daughter who's a big fan of Paw Patrol. She actually went as a Paw Patrol character for Halloween this year. But yeah, that's the name of my team because I ended up getting both Jamar Chase. I was thinking of calling my team Jamar Chase Brown, but I went Chase on the Case like
So
after
if
Paw
the trade
Patrol.
goes, so if the trade goes through, my starting lineup is C.J. Stroud, Chase Brown, Malik Neighbors, George Pickens, Sam Laporta,
Hmm.
Jamar Chase, and then Rashad White, and then Jaden Daniels. That's yeah, because a super flex.
Yeah,
So and I
that's
have
a crazy team.
and I have Jordan Addison on the bench. Then I have a bunch of like rookies and different things here and there. But I'm going for the gusto. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I end up probably messing myself up. But
Well,
anyways,
getting back to basketball. So that's one is something I wanted to talk to you was this fourth and fifth round pick. And because yeah, you did get it got very risky for you, but your team is full of risky players. But looking back, is it really risk? I mean, I guess maybe you could make a case that Jaren Jackson would have been the safe choice. You would have gotten the center that you're looking for. But Jaren Jackson, as always, he's every time people talk to me about Jaren Jackson, they describe it. I envision like this monster player who gets uber productive everywhere, like just produces points, rebounds, blocks, and he's always averaging in the high 20s, early low 30s every season. This year he's averaging 31 points per game and fantasy points per game, I should say.
Right.
And so it's like, is that worth picking over guys like Kawhi Leonard who can? He's probably a keeper type material player when he's healthy, and Zach LaVine is a very good second and third round pick
Oh, so
as
like,
well.
so here's the thing. So like, uh, Jalen Duren was also on my radar.
Yeah, me too.
And obviously because you have him, but like, I didn't feel comfortable snagging him here.
Uh-huh.
So like, I didn't want to reach on players, and
Yeah,
that's where I messed up. So like, I missed out on Alex Czar. Like, I missed
yeah.
out on Derek White. Like, so because I didn't reach early on certain players. It was just the draft was weird. It was just a very weird draft. Now I know now some of the styles of what you guys like.
Yeah, and you
So,
got definitely got to account for those two centers because it's just like two catcher leagues. I think we talked about it in the baseball
yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
They're very tricky to fill out. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So now I know for like the next year, because like, and I'm not like writing this year off. Don't get me wrong. We're trying to compete, and
Yeah.
but I definitely made some poor choices. I would never have touched Chris Middleton. I would like a do over on that one for sure.
And that was the next player I was going to talk to you about. Let me see, just make sure. Yeah, DeAndre Ayton. This actually is pretty working for you. This
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
should go ahead.
Aiton. So I had to talk Joe into that one.
DeAndre Ayton, by
Um,
the way, for those who can't see, DeAndre Ayton for the
Yeah, I
Blazers.
because I just felt that Portland is just such like a mess. I hate to say that, and I love Chauncey Billups, but he's just such. I just felt Aiton could do better, um, and so that kind of worked out. Wendell Carter Jr. is hurt now, I believe, or he's out at least tonight.
Yeah, he got hurt again.
Yeah, so
Was
that
actually crying on the bench, getting consoled by Jalen Suggs the other night as I
yeah.
don't know what kind of injury he suffered, but yeah, it didn't look good.
So, but like I mean, I'm sure everyone got sniped somewhere. I mean, there's different guys. Aaron sniped me on the kid from Toronto. Like, like
Oh yeah,
but
she
that's
was gonna. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, just so you know, I don't know if you know if you put two and two together, but Aaron's a huge Toronto Raptors fan.
no, I put two and two together.
Okay.
I followed Aaron enough to know the life groups, and we've chatted a little bit that I know. I knew that was coming. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just didn't know when. So but again, now I know for the future. Like you can't. I don't care how smart you are, the most clever, fanatic in the world. You get into the wrong pick in the wrong spot or the wrong rhythm. I've drafted before, in different type of formats where you just kind of fall into every pick seems wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you do. You feel like you just keep screwing up more and more.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I like the Aiton pick. Carter pick. I didn't mind either.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we could have went Clint Capella if he was there, but obviously, Leon went and got him before us.
hmm
Um,
Typical Leon pick right there too, by the way.
all right, so go down a little bit more. What's next? I can't remember what round eight is.
Round eight is there's a Chris Middleton,
There it
but
is.
again,
There it is.
he was in the top. I can assure you, he was in the very him and Jordan Poole, by the way, were at the very top of a lot of people's queues. Now, who did I draft here? I ended up drafting Keontae George.
Right.
Can't believe I get a
Did you
eighth
drop him
round.
already? Did you drop
No,
him?
no,
Oh,
no, no. He's still on my team. I'm not dropping him. No way. Are you interested? I'll trade him.
no, no, no. That's
But yeah, I just well, as you alluded to, I picked all these centers, all these big men. So I'm like, crap, I need to start shoring up my guard positions. So he was it. Like, who did I draft beforehand? Let me see here. Scoot Henderson. So yeah, I got the two Western Conference players, young players, Scoot Henderson and Keontae George back to back in I'm not gonna call it desperate, but it's definitely and then Tyler Hero too in the sixth round. So yeah,
that's when you sniped from me.
good, good,
We
good.
were Yeah, no, we were gonna go Hero if he was there over Aiton, to be honest. Um, but
Yeah,
although no, actually no, I'm sorry. No, because in the homework I did, um, what is it? A RotoWire basketball podcast? I can't remember which one. But anyhow,
probably. Yeah, that's a big
yeah,
one.
yeah, no, they were projecting Hero like in like the ninth round, eighth or ninth round. So
It just depends, right? It
yeah,
depends
I guess
what
just
league.
depends.
Yeah.
So, which is not a problem. I hope he's doing good for you. I haven't been
Oh,
paying.
I am in love. And by the way, I realize that I only have two small forwards because I either focus on strictly guards
Guards or
or
centers.
or big men, power forwards and centers. And yeah, I got plenty of power forwards and centers and point guards. I don't have any small forwards. So I really shot myself in the foot. But as long as Kate Cunningham stays healthy and Tyler Hero works on my jumper, I'm good, man. I'm
Oh,
happy with these
Cunningham
picks.
was on my board, man. And you're right. The reason why I like Cunningham is because he's on a team that like he's got to do a lot of work.
It's exactly why I like
That's
him.
that's that's why I
Yes.
like him. You know who I regret kind of getting, but maybe it'll work out in the end. We gets traded. Was I regret going after Dennis Schroeder
You're
because like I regret going after him in late rounds because isn't Dennis Schroeder on a team that like really has not much there?
in real life or in fantasy? In our league. In real life, you talking about?
Yeah, in real life, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's on the same boat as Scoot Henderson and the same
Right,
boat as Keontae George. And
right.
he's on the same boat as who's the other guy I was thinking about here? He's coming up soon. Let me see. Hold on, hold on. Bear with me.
I like my Brick
Uh,
Lopez pick.
I love the Draymond Green pick. Who made that pick in the ninth round? Oh, Felipe did.
Yeah, Felipe did.
No, Felipe made all the right moves. Like Tom Cruise in that movie, all the right moves. Oh, here's Dennis Schroeder. Who'd he go to? Oh, in the 10th round to Felipe's team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see the pattern that got formed here. I drafted all these point guards on loser ass teams. Keontae George, Scoot Henderson, and Dennis Schroeder,
Well, see, I
which
didn't even know he was on your team. I just knew he was off the board. So like, see, I mean, we have similar mindsets. But again, it just felt like I was around behind. That's
yeah,
the way I can put it. And it sounds embarrassing, and it is what it is. But I just felt like I was around. I just could not get caught up to like
yeah.
what I needed to be on speed to. And anything I wanted to pull the trigger on, boom, I was sniped. It's like it's part of it. It's not a big deal, but it's like, damn, like I just couldn't get in a rhythm. So,
I know you didn't listen to the previous podcast, but you got to do yourself a favor and listen to that 2 hour smorgasbord that Pinos and I did, where because I don't want to repeat too much, but yeah, these it was if Ben Simmons doesn't go to Jacob's team, I think I would have pulled the trigger on Ben Simmons, and I was celebrating my wife and I's anniversary as being in a relationship with each other, going steady or whatever the saying goes
right.
nowadays.
Yeah, I remember. Yep.
Yeah. Uh, we were, I was literally at Red Robin talking to her like, "Hey, I'm thinking of getting Ben Simmons, but Dennis Schroeder's also on the team, and I have a chance to get him too, and I don't know who to pick." And she's looking at me like, "The hell are you talking? Who are these people you're talking about?" So yeah, that dominated our dinner conversation that night was, I don't help me pick a player. So listen to that conversation
I
when you get
will.
to it
I
because it's
will.
pretty funny because at the end like after I explained who Ben Simmons was as a player and as a person, she looked me in the eye and go, "Why would you want him on your team then?" Like, woman, because he can get 50 fantasy points on any
It's
given notice.
funny.
Anyway, let's go back here. So Chris Middleton, right? Yeah, I was telling you, Chris Middleton and Jordan Poole, I can assure you, were very high on a lot of people's queues. You pulled the trigger in the ninth round. I'm sorry, the eighth round, virtual ninth round. And I mean, 31 points, that's the highest, way, way higher than anybody in this round in terms of projected score. In the eighth round, right? Yep, he is. And then well above anybody in the ninth round, even Draymond Green, who I was very happy to get. So if he's healthy, oh, you got back-to-back Bucks players.
I did.
Interesting. But if it works out for you, you come out looking like a genius. But
Maybe we'll see.
he can't stay healthy. But really, I mean, I mean, I guess Jordan Poole would have been a wiser choice, but you missed out on him by one pick. And Jordan Poole comes with his own he came with his own baggage. maybe Jalen Suggs, but we never know what the Magic are up to in terms of their guard play. Although this year
Right.
it seems like Jalen Suggs, it's his show, and everybody, all the other guards in Orlando are just taking a back seat to him. Draymond Green for sure is criminal that he dropped to the ninth round, and I'm just sitting there like looking like, really, no one's gonna get Draymond Green? Okay, I guess I'll take him. When I could use another center. My team of 17 centers here. Denny Avdija is an interesting pick. How's he doing? By the way, I meant to say that LaMelo Ball is having a better season. It's still early, but LaMelo Ball is having, in terms of fantasy points in this league, having a better season than Kyrie Irving. So that was the correct choice you made so far. So Danny Avdija, is he not playing? Where's Danny Avdija? What the hell? I guess he is doing so poorly that he's not even in the on the leaderboard here on the other screen.
Oh wow.
Yeah, let's see. Does he average more than 17 fantasy points a game at least? Because we had there was a fight because you may not have, oh yeah, Danny Avdija is averaging 25.59 points fantasy points per game. So he's right around where he's supposed to be. But you know, when you draft this late and you're drafting a guy like Danny Avdija, you're hoping that he gets closer to 30, maybe 27, 28, and then eventually getting to 30 fantasy points per game. But the fact that he's stuck at 25 is kind of disappointing because we were a lot of folks. I'll tell you what, these guys right here, whoever these guys are, we were all looking at Denny Avdija as someone we can get in the ninth or 10th round with the hopes that he can average close to 30 points, fantasy points per game. So you noticed that I noticed that you said that you were getting sniped, but when you listen to the podcast, you'll hear me complain about all these guys: Alex, myself, EJ, Jacob. There's EJ right there, Strike Force, Pinos, and Primo. Like we were all sniping each other's players, and in that podcast we focus mostly because it's Pinos and I are in the latter half of the draft. That we kind of missed out on what was going on in the first half of the draft. You mentioned that women, people like Aaron and Bob and even Leon were sniping you. Did you feel it? I guess you were alluding to that you were feeling getting sniped every consistently throughout the draft. Is that the case with you or no?
Yeah, I mean, like, more often than not, you know what I mean? So maybe every 2 rounds, there's definitely a snipe. Then maybe one round there wasn't. Um, I mean, Brunson, Mello, Butler were definitely the picks. I feel that were, exactly how they were planned.
Yeah.
And then the rest kind of was all like backup safety, if this person isn't there, we're gonna go this.
Yeah.
That's how that kind of went moving forward. But I think everyone kind of has that. And again, I was hoping that the player I wanted would like just make it one more round.
That's everybody. Yeah, I was hoping for a
And
lot of
then
guys. Yeah,
because like a lot of guys went earlier than what professional experts were saying. So I'm just like, okay. So again, but it's also not knowing who you're, coming into a league. Not, I know EJ, right? I know Jacob. I know of Aaron. I've had some, some minimal chats with her in groups.
yeah,
I remember Bob from being in the WNBA league,
that's right. Yep, yep.
but I don't know them. I don't know their style. I don't know how they draft. So
And
we're
and the
like,
fact that it's a keeper league, and I think it's in people's heads that you got to draft a young guy if it comes down to a tough choice between a young guy and a veteran.
right.
Like it seems like, and maybe I'm exaggerating, but it seems like the young guys will always get the preferential treatment over some of these veterans.
Well, because I think people misconstrue or still kind of trick their brain from a keeper in a dynasty.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like, your mindset, you have to change that a bit.
Yeah,
Now,
which is something I struggle with too in all sports. That's true about myself as
now
well.
what, if, I'm sorry for my naiveness, but what year are we into before we throw everything back?
Next year you're keeping two players, so that was my next question. So let's go back to your roster. And it might be too early to tell, but I mean we saw who you drafted, so we can. I mean I can make assumptions, but I mean I want to hear from you because I'm always interested to hear from new people who join this league and get their thoughts and talk about their teams. But if the year ended today, who are your two keeper players? And me, just from the outside looking in, I would assume that at this point it has to be Jayson Tatum.
And LaMelo
And
Ball.
really, I was thinking maybe Jalen Brunson,
I
just
mean,
because you're
Brunson's
in,
there too.
yeah,
Brunson's there too, but I mean,
and you still
again,
got Kawhi. Okay.
off top of my head, I got to think about age. I got to think who's older. I can't remember.
Yeah, see, you fall for that trap too, apparently. So it's hard to get out of that.
But yeah, it's just for 1 year, right? Right.
Yeah, so next year is two players, and then the
And
following year is three players,
and then it
and
resets.
then it resets, so zero keepers, and then we start
Then that
over
doesn't
again.
really matter then, right? Then that doesn't really matter. So
Yeah,
I guess
but
I mean it's tough. I don't know. Maybe I'd keep Brunson over Ball. I mean, just I love both players. It's tough.
yeah,
Obviously Tatum's unless Tatum gets injured somehow, like really,
yeah,
terribly or something changes in his game. I don't know what. Tatum's a lock at that point.
yeah,
But yeah, it's probably between Ball and Brunson. Um,
yeah. And for just a reminder for the folks out there, Brunson was your first round pick. LaMelo Ball
it
was
was
your
my
second
second.
round pick,
Right.
and you're considering keeping your second round pick
I am
to couple
considering
with
it.
Jayson Tatum. Interesting. Interesting. And
Well, I mean, I mean, I can't just stay to a pick. The player
mhm,
has to play. You know
yeah,
what I mean? The player, I mean, so we have to see. I don't think I can go wrong with either player, to be honest.
right, right.
'Cause-
Uh,
and I know where I think maybe I know where you could go next on me is all right. Well, that could have been Anthony Edwards. So you could be keeping Anthony Edwards next year with Jason Tatum. That's what you're going to go next, correct?
no, no, I wasn't.
Oh,
I'm done with that. I mean, we just saw that Brunson is doing better than
right.
both Edwards and Haliburton. So right now, early on in the season, your pick was correct. But I explained in the previous podcast, if I have a chance for Anthony Edwards, I'm getting Anthony Edwards in that spot every time. I just think the world of him. But then I do that, and I'm back to square one again, having the guards and not enough big men. And
Well,
as of
that's
right
what I
now,
have.
I
That's what I
like,
have. I've
yeah.
well, no. I kind of lack at shooting guard right now. All my shooting guards are injured. Although I finally figured out, and this is again me not understanding this, and now I'll know for next year. But like, I just realized today I could play Zach LaVine at the two guard, and I
Hmm.
could then bring in who is it I brought in off the bench? Cam
Uh,
Johnson. I could bring Cam Johnson, put him in at small
oh,
forward.
there he
So
is. Yeah,
so I'm learning now that like I didn't realize that like almost people have different ranges. Like
yeah.
like when Kawhi comes back, I can play him at center.
That's
Like
right. Yeah, he
I mean
qualifies.
it's this is not the NBA I remember. It drives me
Yeah.
crazy. I try, man. Look, like
Backstory. Backstory
huh?
about this league. Backstory about this league. CBS Sports is notorious for having some of the strictest position eligibility rules. Like they're very difficult when it comes to baseball. I think hockey was also pretty difficult back when I played fantasy hockey on CBS Sports. And basketball,
Right.
like it was like once you were pigeonholed in that position, that's where you stay. All right. So then that's how it started. It was just these conservative position eligibility rules for basketball. But then people started complaining, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. How come so and so player? I just saw so and so player play center a lot of times last year. How come he only qualifies at forward and that's it? So not even small forward or power forward, just forward. Yeah, he only qualifies at forward. Certain players do. So I researched it, and there was an option for me to open up the eligibility rules for player positioning. Next thing you know, you'll have players like Kawhi Leonard qualify at center, power forward, small forward, and at times he also qualifies at guard sometimes as well in years past. Royce O'Neal, who's a power forward, small forward, and a shooting guard.
Yeah, that's why I picked him up. It's the only reason
Craziness.
because I wanted to find another shooting guard today. So I literally was going through and I saw his versatility and I was just like, oh my God, yeah, let's pick this guy up. You know what I mean? Like
And I was gonna
it's
say the only other thing was that keep an eye on LaMelo Ball because I have a feeling that as the year goes on, I think if I remember correctly, they start adding more positions to these players. So hopefully for your sake, he qualifies at other places, not just point guard. So keep an eye on that. I believe
I will.
it does add more positions based on where these guys play on the court. But you were just saying, I mean, it's hard to keep track of who plays where, what, and how. And that's the brand new positionless NBA where it doesn't matter, who's handling the ball and who's doing what and who's doing this. It's 'cause everybody has to be a little bit versatile. Everybody has to be a jack of all trades. Everybody has to do a little bit of something that's outside of their normal comfort zone and normal traditional playing level. So
I,
yeah, that's what it is now.
I'll give you two things that I feel ruin the NBA.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Getting rid of hand checking was
Yeah,
one of the biggest things.
well, they needed Michael Jordan to have free will against the Knicks and against the Heat, man, and the Pacers.
Getting rid of hand checking ruined a lot of the game. All
Well, they
right.
wanted Jordan to have free will, bro. You can't.
Well, I'm just
You're
telling you.
you're gonna question the goat. You're gonna question the goat, man.
Um, all I'll tell you is look up a Yahoo Sports
Uh-huh.
um, story
Uh-huh.
by Tom Haberstroh
Yes,
about how I'm paraphrasing, but basically how some of the numbers that Michael Jordan has are not necessarily 100% legit.
yeah.
Um, I have a relationship with the Haberstroh family. I
Hmm.
know Tom's brother Chuck very well. I see him on a monthly basis. I've met Tom before. I was actually at the Haberstroh house
Yeah.
in Westport, Connecticut when um, the Dwayne Wade signing in Chicago came down.
Hmm.
And I got to talk to Tom about it. And Tom used to work for ESPN at the time.
Yes.
And that was a great conversation. Tom's great. He had a podcast for a bit before he
He did, yeah.
what
I
was
don't
it?
remember it, but
Um,
I used to.
Basketball Illuminati.
Oh,
That's what
that's
it's
not the one I
called.
was thinking about. Never mind.
Yeah, but that was the latest one, and then now I believe he's doing something for either the Charlotte Hornets or for the Portland Trailblazers, like doing their pregame stuff. But anyways, there is a
Hmm.
story that was released. I swear you put it on Basketball Live one
Oh,
day.
refresh my memory, bro. Refresh my
Someone
memory.
someone put it on there. I forgot what it was, but basically, there's a story about Tom did a whole thing about his but about Michael Jordan about how his stats don't make sense. So, for example, I don't know, let's say 1993 or whatever, Jordan scored 35 points, had 7 rebounds, and say 5 steals. I'm just paraphrasing. And you calculate it, he really only had 3 steals.
Hmm.
The person doing the keeping the data,
Yeah.
the scorecard gave him an extra 2 steals. It was
Yeah.
really someone else.
Well, how's he gonna win an MVP, bro? How's he gonna win an MVP then?
I'm
Yeah.
just telling you what the story, and I knew about this before, like anyone. I had to keep my mouth shut. I wasn't allowed to say anything. So it's
I've
like,
heard of something like that because Pippen would complain, like, "Hey, how come those steals are going to Jordan, not to me? I'm the one making the steals," and they just, shut up, Pippen."
okay, so it's on blazersedge.com.
Uh-huh.
Tom Haberstroh questions the NBA statistical history.
Yeah. Which,
And here it is. And then it's a Yahoo Sports. A closer look at Michael Jordan's 1988 Defensive Player of the Year award raises questions. That's what it was.
that sounds more
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So a closer look at Jordan's 1987-88 season reveals a substantial discrepancy between his home and road statistics, raising
Hmm.
questions about the authenticity of his stats.
Yeah. That's a Bulls thing. That's a Chicago thing. That's we need to amplify this player for ticket sales, for shoe sales, and that's a league thing. That's a David Stern thing. So it really brings to light how questionable any of this is authenticated. But it is what it is at this point. Michael Jordan has 6 championships and is considered the greatest player of all time. And what can you do? What can you do? And it's
those
not the,
couple of,
by the way, it's not the only sport that does that, by the way, but go
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but if Tom's story is true, to whatever, right? If it comes like does that mean he's no longer the GOAT now?
Nah, bro, he's the GOAT. Calm down. Calm down over
No, I'm asking you.
there.
You're the one like Scotty over Mike, so I'm asking
Yeah, oh,
you.
but I'm not, come on. I'm not that foolish. I love Scottie Pippen, but Jordan was the guy. I mean, I even mentioned it on Jacob and Leon's podcast before that. Yeah, Jordan gets a lot of the credit for those championships, but at the end of the day, he didn't do it by himself.
No, he
Because
didn't. Of
well,
course not.
that season you're talking about, yeah, he got embarrassed by the Pistons that year, I think.
He did.
Yeah, he was hammered, like literally, he's on the floor crying, like LeBron James. So it is what it is. I mean,
But
it
it was a
was
lot. Hold on, timeout. No, no, no. Come
no,
on.
no, no. I'm done with
LeBron,
this.
LeBron never got hit the way Michael Jordan got hit by like Bill Laimbeer or Rick Mahorn. Come on,
Well,
come
I
on.
mean, you got it's everything. Everything's relative, as you know. Everything is relative. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you
You
can't hit
you
LeBron James like that because
you
the
name
other
two
team
players. You name two players. I mean, cut you off. You name two players in this league now that can even hit LeBron the way Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer
well, it's
have.
not allowed. It's not allowed. I mean, you get a
Why? It's
flagrant
good.
four, you get a flagrant five foul for that nowadays. Even though flagrant five fouls don't exist, you will get one because it's LeBron James. No, the thing is, listen, bro. Um, Listen, I have a love-hate relationship with Michael Jordan. And it's
So do
more
I. I'm a
about
Knicks fan.
but it's more about the myth of Michael Jordan. And that's the fact that you're bringing this up. That's part of the story too, isn't it? Like they amplify him so big for shoe sales, for Nike sales, for basketball sales, ticket sales, TV deals. I mean, everything was riding on this guy being bigger than Superman, like bigger than any human. And what was he doing to be able to perform in this way and not get injured? Like, oh, Michael Jordan played 82 games. Oh, nonstop. Okay, there's something to be said about the human element of this and the human well, for Jordan, it's beyond human at this point. Like the mentality of mind over matter. But I'll tell you what, though, in his time in Washington, he paid for all that. Like they constantly, and he insisted, no, I play all the games out there. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna play all the games, and that's what they pay me for. He had to get his knee drained on a nightly basis. Both of his knees, from what I remember, both of his knees had to get drained from fluid and pus that was building up because he wouldn't take a break. He wouldn't rest. He would never rest. And years of playing hardcore basketball, year round, college, Olympics, NBA, playoffs, finals, it added up where to the point where every night he had to get his knees drained just so he could play basketball. And now people are looking at Michael Jordan at the age of 60 and they're wondering what the hell's wrong with his eyes? Why do they look yellow, dark red? What's up with that?
Yeah.
And he's in court coming out and getting interviews about his racing team. And I think I think that we're gonna have favorable decision making here by the judges, and we're gonna put a hell of a race for all the people. And then he has all this green, yellow pus coming out of his eyeballs. It's disgusting. And that's what was he doing all those years where now his eyes look decrepit? What was he doing all these years to play 82 games? What was he doing all these years to go to Atlantic City, go on his Ferrari, drive back to New York, get no sleep, and put 30 points on the Knicks during playoff games? What was he doing in Barcelona that he could party all night with Charles Barkley and is able to wake up the rest of the team early enough to play a round of 18 holes of golf, and then that same night or same day play
I,
against Puerto Rico or something?
I don't know. Some guys had it that way. I mean,
No,
like,
bro, no. And some guys,
dude, Gary Payton would drink
no,
all night and then go out and play ball like it was nothing. I'm
no,
telling you,
bro,
because dude, how do you think Vin Baker became an alcoholic? He
no,
got
bro.
traded.
Well,
No, Vin,
and,
hear
and
me out. I'm from Connecticut. I
I
know
know
Vin
you are.
Baker. Hey,
I know you are.
Vin Baker got traded from Milwaukee to Seattle for Sean Kemp.
Yeah,
Started hanging out with Gary Payton, and then developed a habit. You know what I mean?
but
Like,
you saw a natural downfall from him. You didn't see that with those the other guys. Like, what are they
right, but
doing?
I'm saying, but Gary Payton played at a high level and drank every night, like no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
Uh,
guys could do it and some guys can't.
no, my theory about Michael, especially in Barcelona, oh yeah, he was doing some other things that he shouldn't be doing besides, you know, listen, this is the same league.
Probably.
This is the same NBA league in the 80s, right? So somehow Michael Jordan is immune to all this, but this is the same league in the 80s where Isaiah Thomas would go to every rookie. This is from Isaiah Thomas himself. He'd go to every rookie. Hey, kid, welcome to the league. By the way, this league is all about sleep and vitamins. Sleep and vitamins. What kind of vitamins is he talking about? I have no idea. But assuming that he's talking about over the counter stuff, the fact that Isaiah Thomas is saying that should tell you all you need to know as to what the hell are all these other players doing, especially Michael Jordan. There is no way on God, knowing what we know about the human body, knowing what we know about drug testing and how the like baseball players they need to and these basketball players need to be on load management. These baseball players need to be on pitch counts and they need to take constant days off. I mean, you're a Yankees fan, right? How many days
Right.
off does Aaron Judge need, right? I
No,
mean,
you're right. You're
they
right.
can't. No one's gonna break Cal Ripken's Iron Horse record, consecutive game
No, not
record.
at all. No, not at all.
You just can't do it. You
But
know
it's but
what?
it's
You
but it's
you took
different now.
away. Oh, I was gonna say if I'm finishing up with this, the reason you're never gonna see that is because you took away the candy from the boys. The boys need their candy, and if you're not allowing them to take greenies, you're not allowing them to take any other amphetamines, no steroids, no HGH, not even Adderall. Then all you have are ordinary humans, and that doesn't sell tickets.
Right, but it's about branding now. I mean, it's different. I mean, it's not the same
Exactly.
brand. It's not the same thing. There's no more love for the game anymore. I mean, look at them trying. We just talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it on the air or not. I forget if we have, but the pushing of Anthony Edwards. They wanted to make him baby MJ last year, and he's not ready for that yet. He's got the
No,
tool set. Don't get me wrong. He's got the skill set and the footwork.
the
He could
mentality.
be, yeah, he got the mentality. He could be the next MJ, Kobe, whatever. But they're trying to push that narrative. Why? Why are they trying to push that narrative, Felipe?
Oh, the league is built around that. The NBA is built around that.
Well, right, because
The next this, the next that.
LeBron's eventually leaving, and they need their next superstar.
Yeah.
They need that guy that they can put that pin on.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just like wrestling.
Yep.
When the torches pass from
Brother.
Stone Cold to The Rock, right? Or Sting to trying to think who Sting could have passed it to in WCW.
Uh, Kevin Nash. I'm joking. I'm
No,
joking.
not Kevin. Why Kevin?
I'm
You did
joking.
that on purpose. You
I
did
said
that on
I'm joking.
purpose.
I
You
said I'm
did that on.
joking.
You did that on purpose. You did it on purpose. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. Like it's a passing of the torch. Like say,
Yeah, yeah.
I know Sting passes to AJ Styles and TNA. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like you pass on to the next great raw talent that can be the next god of that era. So
All right. I'm looking to see if I can look up the notes. What did I do? Oh God, there's a filter on this thing, on this spreadsheet I have here. Let's clear that filter. What year is this? Is this the Anthony Edwards year? Oops. No, Scotty Barnes. Who was number 3 that year? Uh, damn it, it's too big. That's what she said. Oh, Jalen Green. So this ain't it. So this is the 2021 draft. So what was it? The, don't save. Was it the 2020 draft then? That is that the year that Anthony Edwards got?
I thought it was 2019,
Oh, really?
but,
Oh,
but I could be
snap.
wrong. Let me look.
Oh, I don't have a 2019 draft, but I know. So it must be maybe 2018. But let's do 2020. See what happens. Because I'm kind of curious to see what the experts were writing about Anthony Edwards at that. There he is.
Oh, you're right. 2020. You're right. My bad.
Here he is. I got it.
2020.
All right, so let's take a look at this really quick because now you got me curious. Anthony Edwards, shooting guard at Georgia, 6'3", 225 pounds. And I did this with Leon and Jacob a long
He
time
was the
ago.
second pick.
Yep, behind LaMelo Ball, your guy. You could have had both of these guys here, both Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball on your team. What do they say about Anthony Edwards? Power, length, and explosive, can score in many ways. Some ability to facilitate, versatile defender. I mean, that's what you look for from a shooting guard.
Right.
What's his weakness? He lacks court awareness, so he's no LeBron. Inconsistent, very streaky shooter. The defense wanes. He gets lazy, so that's definitely not Jordan or Kobe. But what's his projected role according to ESPN and maybe me trying to do some comp? Star, he's a star scoring guard, the likes of James Harden.
I remember the night of the draft, people questioned his motor.
They did, and
And they questioned his motor and said that he didn't necessarily love the game enough and that would be his downfall.
that cost him the top pick overall.
Right, that's right. And I was just blown away by that because I'm like, I really felt the kid had all the tools. I didn't know that he, had that,
Oh,
issue in him. And you know what? And
you know what? This might not be right though. See, I am so sorry. Look, it says ESPN rank. What does that mean? This is ESPN's top prospect list. So this is not how the draft went. I do apologize for that.
no, you're right.
So,
He went first overall in 2020. I
okay.
knew it. Okay, yeah, he went
Okay.
first overall.
Sorry about that.
So no,
Yeah.
it's okay. So because Wiseman I think went second, and then LaMelo Ball went third.
That's right. That's yeah.
Okay,
LaMelo Ball
so
went third. Yep,
yeah, so
just like his brother.
because I remember that was
No.
the year that we drafted Toppin, and I did want Halliburton, and we didn't draft him, I mean I guess it worked out, so I'm not complaining. Um,
Yeah, they're on the same team now.
but
Halliburton and Toppin.
right, they are. But so um, back to Anthony Edwards quickly. I did not like the trash talk to Kevin Durant last year in the playoffs. Did not like it. I felt it was tasteless. Listen, everyone talks junk and I'm okay with it. And someone called me soft about it. I'm not soft. It's not about being soft. You want to talk junk to anyone else, so be it. I get it. Did you ever see Kobe Bryant talk junk to Michael Jordan? No.
Well,
No.
apparently they
Maybe
were talking,
a
but
little
no.
bit of chatter, but not the disrespectful tone where like the
Yeah,
camera can see what, and that's where I feel Anthony Edwards is still too young to be the next face of the league.
yeah.
So until he matures on that front, and
Yeah.
now I feel this Randall experience will stunt his growth. So maybe I'm wrong for not drafting Anthony Edwards. And again, I did overlook him by accident, and totally my own fault.
Mhm.
But maybe I end up being right. And if I do, wonderful. I look like a genius because I have a feeling that unless they trade Randall out of there, Randall's is not going to complement Edwards in that fashion. I would rather have a Paul Gasol type like you had for Kobe
Mm.
than have a Randall because Gasol didn't need to be ball dominant. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, all right.
The final thing I'm going to say is that NBA Draft.net compared Anthony Edwards to Dwayne Wade.
Right.
So the pretty good company. And looking back, yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, this is bringing back bad memories of the draft that year for me, the fantasy basketball draft, because I ended up picking Obi Toppin over Anthony Edwards, Obi Toppin over Anthony
Ooh,
Edwards,
ooh.
just because I thought, well, they're saying that he has a weak motor. I don't know what that means.
The weak motor. I'm telling you that
But
that was
Toppin can jump out of the gym, and he's gonna be able to produce in other ways. And no, he was not productive whatsoever. So that was a mistake on my part.
I watched Obi in New York. He just first of all, he didn't fit Tibbs's system. He just didn't fit.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
ironic.
Yeah, he developed a three and that's great, but he didn't fit. Like he needed a more run and gun type style offense.
Yeah,
That's why he fits in the end. But I always feel like his mannerisms, just the way he carries himself, he's too like I don't know, nonchalant and like loosey goosey. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You think with a kid with that kind of talent, he would just be like ferocious and just like he should be like what John Morant is, but at the power forward position or small forward position. You know what I mean? Like where even though John Morant has off the court issues, John Morant's a dog. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? Obi kind of like obviously he's still young or what is, but he's missing that dog in him. Just my personal opinion. I could be
I just
wrong.
don't think he's that good.
No,
Just
he's got talent. I've watched it, but it just comes in flashes.
no. Well, I define that a little bit differently around these parts. Like he's an athletic freak. There's no question.
Right,
The athleticism. He's explosive, and all of this is correct about him. He's
right.
explosive above the rim, leaper, and all that. But I just see a guy who's not very skilled. He's not very talented, and it's probably too late for him to develop any of those necessary skills.
But he's no Kenyon Martin. Like I
No, no,
understand
that's what
that.
I mean. He's not.
I mean, he could have been, but he. That's what I'm saying. He's too loosey goosey. He's not. He's not. He's like half in and half out. I don't know if he smokes weed or excuse
He's
my
not even,
language.
well, he's not even Aaron Gordon, you know?
No, he's not.
And that's the
Not.
problem. That's what I mean.
But can you imagine if he was Aaron Gordon with that athleticism? Holy
He'd
cow!
still be on the Knicks.
Probably.
Let's
Yeah.
see. So yeah, it's always fun to look back at these drafts. And again, just to finish up here, what else is? I mean, these are late round picks, Boyan and Bogdan.
The Tyus Jones pick paid off for me. I feel, in my opinion.
Okay,
I mean, Zubac was on my board.
yeah.
I wasn't gonna grab Lonzo Ball. Um,
Hmm.
I did flirt with Conley. I was thinking, attempted to pick Conley, but I didn't. Joe and I kind of just hesitated. Um,
Oh, right here. Gotcha.
yeah. Trying to think who else.
Yeah, because PJ Washington was available. I don't know. Tyus Jones doesn't do much for me, but he's in a decent situation. But I just don't think there's enough potential there to warrant the pick for me.
He was on the sleeper board for RotoWire, for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
RotoWire podcast,
yeah,
and he was ranked higher than PJ Washington and a couple others. I almost grabbed Alex Caruso as well
yeah,
because of the amount of spots, you know, he could cover.
yeah. He plays everywhere. That's impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive. So,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened to Caleb? Hold on, is this the Caleb Martin that was on the Heat 2 years ago?
I believe so. Yeah,
What he was supposed to be the next coming of something, and now he's like bounced around. Like I don't know what that's all about.
I have no idea.
I'm shocked. Do you remember that playoff series against the Knicks? Like
Yeah,
I mean,
I
he
mean
torched us.
the
Not
Heat,
all those guys are not there anymore.
the Heat.
So Martin's not there. Who's the point guard that plays for LA now or did play for LA last year? What's his name?
Oh boy, I can't remember.
I see his face in front of me, but he's no longer there.
He's
And then Strauss is in Cleveland, I believe.
Maxi
Uh,
Strauss.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Here's Caleb Martin. See what. Let's see. Look at his game log. What has he done? Just bench or glue guy or whatever. Has the occasional explosive game. Well,
I
five
don't know.
points, 10 rebounds.
I don't know. He was hot that one series against the Knicks. I was like,
Yeah,
I wanted him. And then like he just kind of like settled out. Like it's just like I don't. And of course, Spoelstra has that thing about taking guys that are like undrafted and making them into something.
I think this is that situation as well. I was just gonna allude to that. I think that situation is that he's
Or lower draft. You know what I mean? Like
no,
not
yeah, but you got it undrafted. There, I think that was a big deal that they were making. Like, oh, these guys are undrafted and they're showing up big here. Let's see what year. This is the 2021 Heat, maybe.
no
We
2022, I believe.
almost 9 points a game, almost 5 rebounds per game. I don't know. There's pretty good free. Oh yeah, that's a career high free throw percentage for him. 46.4% from the field. Where's the 3 point? 35.6. Okay. But
I
yeah,
mean,
the free throws where it's at for him. It's a really good.
it was just in the playoffs, and maybe it wasn't like his whole season, but those three guys just like murdered us. Like they just, you know, I mean, I believe it was
That was the
Brunson.
bubble. Was that the bubble?
No, it wasn't a
No.
bubble.
So
That was
Miami.
so it wasn't last year. It wasn't the 2022-2023 season. I'm sorry, it wasn't the 23-24 season. It was the 2022-23 season. So I guess it was the 23 playoffs.
Let's look it up, and I guess we could finish with that. I'm looking for basketball reference 2023. See if we could find these players. Well, they finished. Oh, that was it. They're expected. See, they were supposed to finish 40 and 42, and Spoelstra find a way to get them 4 games better to finish seventh in the NBA Eastern Conference.
Right. And then they went to the finals.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Let me see.
Right. They lost to Denver.
Oh, but you were looking at the Knicks series. Let me see. Here it is. Who was there? Let's find out. Oh, wait, here it is.
Yes,
How
yes.
we
Strauss, Butler, Bam, Gabe Vincent,
That's right.
Caleb
Yeah.
Martin, and Max Strauss. Just like we're killing us. They also that other shooter. Oh, Duncan Robinson. That's
Oh
another
yeah.
guy.
They'll kill you. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kevin Love that team was ridiculous. I'm just so shocked because Tyler Hero was injured. He couldn't play.
Oh,
I
that's
swear, yeah, I swear Hero was injured that playoff series.
interesting. Yeah, because that would have made this team even stronger. But yeah, that's the reason why Caleb Barton gave Vincent were able to step up because if Hero's not there, then these guys are
Right. But
non-factors.
these
Interesting.
right, but like these guys were hitting like crazy threes. Like it was I don't know. Maybe I'm over. No, I mean
No,
pretty
well,
decent.
Martin, the 35.7%. How does that
Yeah.
rate? I mean, the Highsmith, what was he doing? He only shot 3 points three. He only attempted three pointers,
Right,
but
hit two
Kyle
of them.
Lowry, Caleb Martin, they're high volume 3-point
Strauss,
shooters,
yeah,
and so is Maxi Strauss, and they're just killing it out there with a
they were.
35%
It
three
was it was
point
like
shot.
it was like Butler playing point, point forward and just setting these guys up. It was crazy.
Ooh, Butler, let's not shoot the three anymore in that series.
No, yeah,
That's
no, he didn't. He had a terrible series from shooting, but he was setting everybody up. Like it was.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. He led the team in assists because Tyler Hero's not there. Then yeah, Jimmy Butler has to take over, and then Kyle Lowry at the age of 36,
who's
assuming
now?
this is
I
accurate.
think Lowry's back in Philly. I believe now.
I'm not
He
quite
is.
sure.
He
I'm
is.
not quite
He is.
sure. Okay,
Yeah, Lowry's in Philly.
and then who the Knicks have?
At that
Um,
time, they have Brunson, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Quentin Grimes. I mean, it's not
oh my
even.
God, Jalen Brunson scoring 31 points per game in this series.
Yeah,
That's insane.
yeah. Well,
Maybe,
that's the series that made him a star. That's the series that made the Knicks commit to him.
yeah.
I mean,
And Julius Randle taking a back seat over here in terms of points scored. Interesting.
I think he was also somewhat injured, playing through injury as well. I think
Yeah.
all of them were.
Oh, right.
Right, yeah. I think Randall missed one game.
And now look at all these guys who are gone. Barrett is gone. Quickly is gone.
Yeah,
Toppin is gone.
yeah.
Uh,
It's a whole
mm,
different team. The only one
yeah.
still there is Brunson, Josh Hart, Robinson, and McBride. Everyone else is gone.
So yeah, the
But
Quentin
but Josh
Grimes.
Hart started that. So the trade for Josh Hart is what initiated that team to like play so well for like almost a month and a half straight,
Yeah,
and then push them. So and then the same thing happened last year. They traded for OG Anunoby, and that pushed them as well.
yeah,
So I don't know, interesting stuff. Again, can't believe Caleb Martin fell off like that, but whatever.
yeah. It's the bench.
Journeyman player that just caught a hot run, I guess.
Yeah, and for fantasy purposes, it's just the bench guy. He's just the guy you put in the end of the bench and hope for the best. I think that's where Alex has him on his team currently, just somewhere in the back of the bench. Um, how do I get back? Oh, right here. So that's Caleb Martin. Um, I think those are all basically we covered all the questions I wanted to ask you. I guess it's getting late. I've run out of things to say, so let's get you out of here, bro. Get the final word in. What anything that's basketball related, go ahead and sound off.
For all you people drafting going forward, stay away from Kawhi Leonard. That's it. That's the advice for tonight. If you learned anything,
Let's see. Anything else here? Round 11, round 3. Cam Johnson, we just saw Kelly Olynyk, yeah, typical veteran player there. Um, Tyree Eason, who I think you dropped, and I think he just got,
I did.
and then he got dropped again, or was that you?
No, I dropped him.
Oh,
Yeah, I dropped him today.
yeah. Derek Jones Jr. I think I made a joke in the previous episode that if this were, if we counted spectacular dunks, I think he'd be drafted a lot earlier than the 14th round. I think that's the joke I made. I don't
I
remember.
think we only drafted him because he was going to get playing time, supposedly. That's another one. I
Oh, for the
wanted Norman.
Clippers, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted Norman Powell. That's who I
Oof.
wanted, and I got sniped. I forget what round that was,
Yeah,
but Norman Powell.
I already closed it, so
That's all right. But that's who I wanted. That's to kind of back up, and he's been playing well.
yeah.
Him and
Last I
Zubac,
checked.
and I wanted Zubac too.
Yeah, Zubaks was the guy to get in believe it was the 10th round in this league. I don't
Yeah, it was the
remember.
10th round. Yep.
And
He
apparently
went.
everybody else had the same idea.
He went right before me. Like I forget who it was.
Oof.
Either Leon or Bob. But one
Has
of
to
the
be
two.
Leon then. Leon gets all those veteran guys late in the draft there.
So, but that's how that went.
And
But
on that
thanks for having me on. Thanks for not making fun of me too much. And and I will make sure to do better next year for sure.
I I get a bad reputation of being kind of mean, I guess, for lack of a better term, being mean with these draft recaps.
Not
But
mean.
I think I'm fair where I think I compliment owners when I see something that is impressive. I think I give as good as I take. I like to think I do,
It's
but I don't know.
it's
People,
it's it's definitely a learning curve, and you
well,
learn more about who you're dealing with. Because it's not just like, okay, we're gonna all draft today and that's it. Everyone has a different way of doing it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so now that I've seen different variations and now know what you guys like, and then now I kind of better idea of how I want to do things next year. Because like that's the challenge now is that Joe and I both said now that we know what we're up against and how the system kind of works and the multiple spots and what's really important, we're going to take that, learn from it, and then try to make it better next year.
Did you like the slow draft?
I did actually.
That's one of the turnoffs for a lot of people. Like, oh, I can't do slow draft. I don't want to do slow draft.
Joe is not a fan of slow drafts, but he's learning to deal with it. It's our second or third one this year.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the anticipation drives him crazy, but
Oh man. Well, yeah, because he likes to make trades. I'm telling you, the guys who like to make these trades, they
it's
just
not just trades, but no, he
it's
wants.
connected though. It's connected. I'm telling you, it's connected.
I
You think
guess
I'm
so.
making it up, but no, I guess so.
I
No,
I
man.
can only speak for me. And
Uh-huh.
what I can say is that like I have so much going on at once that the slow draft actually gives me time. It benefits me. So a slow draft actually benefits me, where a fast draft, of something that, I mean, I could do the fast, the normal one night draft as well, but
Yeah.
the slow draft I feel benefits me a little bit better because it gives me time to think in between picks.
Yeah, that's the one con is that it gives up people way too much time. So there's that, and there's no sense of urgency. But at
Right.
the same time, I mean,
You
if
can't have it
people,
all though, right?
oh yeah, yeah, for sure. But at the same time, I mean, what's worse, having one team be on auto draft because everybody agreed to do the draft night except for one team. So, well, I'll just set my queue up. Like, no, man, this is the slow draft. Get your picks in. Yeah, that we only had two teams. We had of all the picks that we made, only two picks uh were autobots because of the time lapse. That's better than having one team, 17 rounds. That's 17 automatic draft picks that were made by the computer and not by a person. I would take the two automated drafts in a slow draft than having that dead team not show up because my schedule's not aligned. I'm supposed to do something that night I can't make. But it's okay. I'll just let the robot pick all my picks anyway. That's fine. No, make your picks. And the other thing I like about the slow draft, Harry, I don't know if you felt the same way, but it does feel like the real draft. Like the real teams, they have. I mean, in the NFL draft, they have 15 minutes. They're on the 15-minute clock. In the NBA, at one point, I think they were at 10-minute clocks before. I think now the current system is 5 minutes to draft your players. And there's like a certain buzz. There's a certain tension. That's a different type of tension, I guess I should say, when it comes to a slow draft. And it does feel like the real thing. It's as close to feeling like an actual live NBA draft, like the professionals do. And it's the closest thing we're gonna get where we are in the same room together and we're conversating and we're all you know going back and forth with each other because I've been in-person drafts when it's on a one night only, and it's pretty cool to have all your friends in the same room, but we're not really talking to each other. There's really nothing going on because you're up against the clock. 60 seconds, make your pick already. So there's not a lot of chatter. There's not a lot of camaraderie being formed there. And that's
No,
the
I
other
agree.
advantage because that's what it boils down to. The reason you do a fantasy draft is not just to compete, not just to make money, not just to show how much you know about ball, as the kids would say. I know more about ball than you. And it's not just about you know, bragging rights or proving something or having a chip on your shoulder, but it's also about I'm in a good spot, Harry. I have 11 other guys who pay me money to hang out with me for the rest of the NBA season. That's the way I'm seeing it now. Is it hubris on my part? Yeah, but if you really boil down to it, these guys are putting in their money to hang out with me for the rest of the year and talk some basketball and have a camaraderie going
Yeah, I totally agree.
and have a little community mini community. Uh, uh, be involved there. Go ahead.
No, that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, my fantasy football league, my buddy Neil Sorensen, I know him since I was 16 years old. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
he's, one of my, original, five or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we had a like reunion over the summer. Everyone was at my house, pictures up on Facebook and everything, of like before and after, and
Yeah.
from like 30 something years ago to now or whatever it was. And I kept that league open for so long because it was a way of keeping me and Neil connected. That was like one of the main reasons of of that fantasy football league. And now there's other reasons for it too. But like, my other friend Gus, I've known him 20 something years. We don't talk every day, but at least we talk about football. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause as adults, you get, life gets busy, and being a responsible adult, has its disadvantages and advantages. And a lot of it is time
Yeah.
oriented things. So if you do a football league or a basketball league, it keeps your friends talking to you, right? So I totally agree with that sentiment. That's exactly why I do it.
Yeah, and I've been blessed. I don't have much. I don't consider. I mean, I know I was talking to you about how got to spend some time with my real life friends, like my non-Facebook friends recently. But I interact with my Facebook friends a lot more than I do with my so-called real life friends.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do because we're all in these fantasy leagues together, fantasy baseball, fantasy football, fantasy basketball, and now we have a fantasy hockey league going as well, which is free, nothing too big. I don't even know who the hell these players are. That's how bad it is. But we're gonna give it a try because why not? It's Fantrix is offering it for free. Let's check it out.
Yeah,
And
I've fallen off from hockey. I couldn't even tell. I'm a Ranger fan. I can't even tell you I can't even name a Ranger. I
I,
just
I I love hockey too, but yeah, I mean, we talked about brand and marketing. This is the worst sport in terms of brand and marketing. But people will agree, it's the best sport to watch live. It is the most exciting sport out of all the major four sports that are out there, basketball, football,
right.
baseball, and hockey. That's the big four in North America. The players are everything you would want the professional athletes to act like. Tough,
Absolutely.
morals, um, no
Yeah.
nonsense, no drama,
Just to be
but
talented enough to skate like that, let alone, use a stick and a puck. You know what I
highly
mean?
skilled players. But nobody cares. And relatively speaking, nobody cares. This isn't Anthony. There was like, who the hell was it? There was two. Anthony Simons was one of those players, and there was another dude that was involved on a last second shot type of situation. And the video showed, yeah, these two guys, they have babies from the same baby mama. And the guy with
Oh,
the
oh, oh,
who's the other guy?
wasn't it Brandon Ingram?
Is it Brandon Ingram?
Yeah, it's Brandon Ingram. Yeah, so that was a big deal about like Brandon took a game-winning shot over Anthony Simons or whatever, and it's the first time ever one baby daddy beat the other baby daddy. You know what I mean? Like because they have the same baby mama. Like who
What are
the
you
hell
guys
cares about
doing,
that?
man? But hey, but that's what I mean. But that's the opposite. Nobody cares about the hockey player who has the same wife and the three beautiful children. They don't care. If they did, hockey would be the most popular sport in America, or in North America. But it's not because it's the Jerry Springer thing. It's the whole Attitude Era thing of WWE, right? In that era, people are still attracted to the drama. Fuck these
Drama
two
and outlandish shit. Excuse my language.
there's two guys with the same baby mama, or there's two guys fighting over the same woman, or Anthony Edwards who has like what, five kids with like three different women or some crap like, was it Anthony Edwards?
I
I
think
forgot.
so.
Yeah, so that's the other knock on him, is that, hey, he should probably keep it in his pants. Like, no, man, these are NBA players. They're not keeping anything locked away. Or Devin Booker inviting TikTok girls all over the country to be with them, or the situation that happened with his Phoenix Suns teammates with that one TikTok girl or whatever.
Do you
Or,
remember back in the 90s though, that Tony Braxton broke up like
that's right.
the whole Dallas Mavericks? She
Yeah,
dated Jason Kidd, Jim Jackson, and Jamal Mashburn.
I remember that. Yeah,
And
they were all
oh my
fighting for the
God,
same woman. Like,
they're
bro,
all
you
fighting for the same woman. Like
you
it's
guys can have any woman on the goddamn planet. Why are you all fighting about the same woman? And it's an ego thing. These guys, like, they know they can get any woman they want. Even if they get Tony Braxton, they're still gonna be on the road, and they're still gonna be, you know, putting their pedestal in the bucket or whatever. I don't know. I'm running out of things to say,
I hear what you're saying.
but I was thinking of a scientific thing. Was it the pedestal, the mortar, or whatever? Anyway,
Yeah, I got you.
I'm back in science class here. But you know, you can have anyone, and even they do. The fact that they can't get that woman is what drives them. I mean, these guys are full of ego. Everybody champions Michael Jordan for being a petty player, but these superstar athletes, they're petty by nature. They don't get this far in their industry without being petty, hyper competitive, and ego driven. And that's just what it is. And that's what it boils down to. Yes, you can have any woman you want. You've been having any woman you've been wanting since middle school, probably. Oh, but it's that one that got away. No, no, no. We can't let that one go. And I think that's part of the problem.
Like Tony Parker sleeping with Brent Barry's wife. But really, Tony
Oh my
Parker's dating Eva
Lord.
Longoria. He's with Eva Longoria,
And it's I
and it
mean,
wasn't enough.
it wasn't enough. I mean,
It wasn't
guys,
enough. You have to have Brent Barry's wife.
guys
Like,
in that standing, guys in that standing. I mean, shoot, we all know. I mean, uh,
like what?
we know guys personally, probably. We know men who are not interested in women once that woman is interested in them because they're already looking at, oh, who's that girl? I'm gonna check them out. Oh, is she married? Oh, okay. I like a good challenge. Yeah. And that's just normal dudes who aren't superstar athletes. Now imagine these superstar athletes who always get their way anyway. Like, you know what? I want that one. Oh, she's married? Even better. I like a challenge too, more than me. So, Tony Parker's French. So it's a mental thing. It's an ego thing with these guys, and it's ridiculous.
Crazy.
But again, hockey players, you don't get that kind of drama. Every once in a while you do. I mean, here in Chicago, we had the whole issue with was it Patrick Sharp cheating on Duncan Keith's wife, or was it Brent Seabrook? One of the defensemen. I forgot which one. And that caused controversy, and that forced the Blackhawks to trade away Patrick Sharp to another team. But eventually they brought him back. They paired him up with Duncan Keith again, I guess. So that's how
That's insane.
yeah, so I guess it happens in hockey too, but it's so what do you call it? It's not well publicized.
Right.
But even then, even if you just sell America, North America, especially America, I guess I should say, you sell America on these clean cut guys, from small towns that they grew up playing hockey, they come from good families, they have families of their own. Nobody cares. It's not good enough. It's not good marketing, apparently.
Because it's not drama.
It's not
They all
drama.
want the drama.
Exactly. And on that note, let's end this drama. Harry, man, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
And
thank you for having me.
yeah, man, anytime. We'll talk later, okay?
All right. Take
Have a
care
good
now.
night, everybody. See ya.